I think I am audible to you.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Good afternoon to everyone, all the participants. Rather, all are my colleagues, all are the teachers here. First of all, I thank Mizoram University, especially the convener of this program, Dr. Himanshu and Dr. Pankaj, to give me this opportunity to interact all the participants from different part of India. All are our colleagues and member of tourism fraternity or allied fraternity. I have been given a topic for entrepreneurship. Okay. I can share the slide now, Pankaj. Is it visible? My slide is visible?
Yes, sir. Now it's visible.
Okay. Okay.
So it's for full screen. You can.
Okay. Okay. Problem. Is it visible now?
Sir, it's visible but not full screen.
Is it now?
Yes, sir. It's okay now, sir.
Okay.
Thank you.
So, my title of this today's presentation is Entrepreneurship and Startup in Tourism and Hospitality Sector, Concept, Status, Opportunities and Challenges. So, I have, in all my deliberation, I have subdivided my deliberation first regarding the concept of entrepreneurship, then what is the characteristic of a successful entrepreneur, what are the functional sphere of entrepreneurship process, startup, then what are the major reasons for failure, and I have chosen some case studies of successful small entrepreneurs, and then with concluding remarks, then we have some session for few minutes for discussion regarding the question. So let me begin with the statement that good business persons succeed and bad one fails. But nothing succeeds like its success. But it does not mean that those who are failed, they are bad business person. So we have to understand the intricacies of an entrepreneur and difference between entrepreneurs and successful entrepreneurs, right? So when it's a common definition of entrepreneur. When we talk about the entrepreneur, we have to talk on two dimensions. It is a nexus between the individual and the opportunities. Because when you talk of entrepreneur, as a very common definition of entrepreneur is the person who organize and operate and assume the risk for a business venture for the purpose of achieving profit and growth by identifying significant opportunities. So 3-4 key words are very important in this. Number one, the individual who can take the risk, who can go for a venture. And the obvious purpose is going for any business venture is profit. But the key aspect, how you identify the opportunities, how you see the opportunities, and then you go for it. So entrepreneur and entrepreneurship are interrelated. So it is a process, entrepreneurship is a process, and who has done those, that is an entrepreneur. So in entrepreneurship, you create wealth by an individual, and no doubt he has spent equity, money, time, his career commitment, and he add value to his product. Majority of the entrepreneur or entrepreneurship is not a new product or a new service. It may be a product or service. But the thing is that you have to add value. It may not be product, may not be new or unique, but you have to create something in that so that it can be a successful venture. So you have to invest your resources, you put your necessary skills to make the venture attractive, to add some value to your product so that you can be a successful entrepreneur. When you talk about a specific traits that play a role as an entrepreneur, there are several traits are there. You can add a lot of adjective to be a successful entrepreneur. But I want to highlight 3-4 key traits for an entrepreneur. The first one is the locus of control. What it mean by locus of control? Particularly, locus of control means what a people, what a individual believe in himself, right? If individual believe that the situation and experience those affect their life is under the control of other or the control of himself. If the locus of control is external, then that people believe that he is helpless, the destiny is not in his hand, it is the fate that decides the destiny. So he believes in the luck. If he is successful or he become failure, he attribute to success or failure to the luck. But a person who have internal locus of control, that he believe, he base his success or failure on his own work and his own belief, right? He control his own life. So a successful entrepreneur has or should have internal locus of control. The second aspect is the need for achievement. That means until unless you don't have the desire to start a new venture to achieve something, you cannot expect to be a successful. You cannot even take the risk and you cannot aspire to do the things. So you have a desire to do the things, and no doubt you have to take a calculated risk to be a successful or to start an entrepreneur or to go for entrepreneurship. So there are some common characteristics of an entrepreneur which are very common. So I'm just run through it. It's an overview of kind of things that you have determination, you have firmness or stubbornness. Yes, I have to do that. You have a clear-cut vision what to do. You have a clear-cut idea on that aspects particularly. And you have to respond quickly, any problems are there, and you should be a team member. You should believe in a team and you should able to get along with that team. You should be a dynamic leader, all the quality of leadership, clear goal, you can motivate people, you should be responsive to all the suggestion or criticism. That is key to success. If you are not respond to criticism, if you feel bad to the criticism, then you are not a successful entrepreneur. Criticism give you a chance to review yourself, to understand yourself better from the point of view of other person. But you must be self-confident and optimistic. Then you should be independent, you have total control, command. You should be creative and take initiative. On the aspect of creative and taking initiative is the key aspect of an entrepreneur particularly, because it is the main aspect of an entrepreneur. When you spot an opportunity, then you can exploit them through creative thinking particularly. All innovation begin with creative ideas, and successful implementation of those ideas is very key to success in that way. So the difference between creativity and initiative is that creative is the ability to think new things, but innovation is the ability to do new things. So you think, that is creative, and you do, you are taking initiative in that. So you should be always curious to learn, hardworking, and whatever success or failure, you should take accountability for that. You cannot blame others in that way, right? So you should be flexible and you should be adaptable. So these are the few aspects of a good entrepreneur, characters of a good entrepreneur. But mere possessing the trait and character is not adequate, right? An entrepreneur, if you go through the background of an entrepreneur, entrepreneur must have the experience, and beside trades, he must have some experience. Raw people, very new people are, if you go through the success stories, uh, there must be some experience and some backgrounds for that. And beside the character and the background, there are some other external factors are there who makes a successful entrepreneurship. That are political factor, economic, social, and technological landscape. If all these four are favorable, that helps for the development of entrepreneurship or flourishing of entrepreneurship. Besides that, there are some push and pull environments are there, because that push give you the fillip to go for the entrepreneurship. Why people go for entrepreneur? Particularly those people who are unhappy with the current working condition, job, they go for entrepreneur. Or those people who made redundant, they are suppose being jobless or being layover, they are given layover, or they are being out of the job. So then they think on that aspects also. These things also push. In the current pandemic, I have come across to various, particularly in tourism and hospitality industry, various people who at various high positions, they are now shifting to entrepreneurship. They are planning on that aspect in various kind of entrepreneurship. They are thinking new things. Here, new ideas are coming in their mind out of their experience, and the situation forced them out of job. So they are looking for some other alternative with creative thinking. And pull factor, because you have some market attractiveness, some potentials are there, some opportunities are there, and that opportunity give to create wealth and status for those people. So people are going for entrepreneurship. So these are the common push and pull factor in the environment that helps to people to go for the entrepreneurship. And one is, I explained the redundancy. Another is about the previous job. If you are not satisfied with your previous job, or after having a lot of job, they want that to shift to other aspect. And you can, through entrepreneurship, you can earn much more income in comparison to the job and other kind of things. And the other attractions are there. You are their own boss. Entrepreneur is own boss. You are not working under others. In travel trade, if most of the people are from travel trade, you know the working hours, the job conditions in that way. So you can work from your own home. You are your own boss, and you can work on your own location, on your place of choice of place. And there is a natural progression in entrepreneurship. You can develop yourself in the entrepreneurship process. So in that, these are the major push and pull factor of entrepreneur, and how the idea come in the mind of entrepreneur. So there are various things are there which helps you. The idea can come in the mind of, you have either you have prior job experience. So after getting a lot of job experience, you can start your own entrepreneurship. Sometimes you follow your personal passion, which you cannot pursue in job. So you can develop that passion, and you can fulfill that passion, personal passion, in your entrepreneurship. Some people, by chance, they can join the job or go to the entrepreneurship. I remember while I was reading the story of Ola Cab. So one incident changed his mind. The owner of Ola Cab, he was traveling from Bangalore to Bandipur. In between, the cab operator dropped him, charged more, and in between he left, those people are there. So at that time he thought that I'll develop such kind of transportation system which is reliable and authentic and whatever may be. So by chance also you can have a entrepreneurship came into mind, and that entrepreneurship are there. If your relatives and friends are there, so that also give a fillip to become an entrepreneur. Then education. Nowadays, the education are very key for development of entrepreneurship. In majority of the top educational institution, the trends are changing. These IITs, IIMs, or top business schools. Now they are not focusing on job. I was listening one of the orientation program of IIM, and that way, in that the director of IIM is that he is telling his young students that your aim should be not a job seeker but a job giver. So you go for entrepreneurship. First preference should be the entrepreneurship. So that way, so those educational background help them to be a good entrepreneurs in that. Nowadays, you can find a top business schools are done offering a management course in entrepreneurship, especially MBA not in finance or marketing, MBA in entrepreneurship and innovation. That kind of courses are being offered, are becoming gradually popular for that. And if you have also family business, so that ideas likely come to you in your mind. So that way, entrepreneurship is very coming to mind a particular person particularly. There are other various factors are there. They help in the growth of the entrepreneurship. So these are globalization, liberalization, then entrepreneur-friendly government policies. Now you can find a lot of development are taking place in India regarding Atmanirbhar Bharat. Lot of fillip is being given to startups and small entrepreneurship in that way particularly. So we'll discuss that on detail in subsequent slides. So these are the factors which help you, and moreover, you have nowadays, earlier are the days where the entrepreneurship are very daunting tasks, very difficult tasks. Now you have a lot of free advice from social medias, and you can get a lot of ideas in that way from peers, from industries also. A lot of forums are there, and you can get ideas and you can develop them, and lot of schemes are also there. So that help you for the growth of the entrepreneurship particularly. And when you talk of the entrepreneurship, we can divide entrepreneurship into two aspects. So big startups and small businesses. In travel trade, you know, most of the entrepreneurs are small business particularly. Big corporate ventures are there. Of course, there's no doubt about that. But the thing is that you can find a lot of small and medium scale of entrepreneurship in travel trade. Maximum numbers are there particularly. And that way, you define the small business, characteristic small business. The criteria are either about the turnover or the number of person, how many person are working that kind of entrepreneur. And now the small entrepreneurs not confined to local areas particularly, because when you see the characteristics of a small firm, so it is a one or partnership business, it is financed by owner relative, it has a limited local market, it is inability to influence prices because they are confined to their own business, and they have small aspirations. They have short-run decision making, but the small business are now changing. How? Because nowadays, due to the social media, due to internet connectivity, due to global connection, even a small homestay in a remote part has the global connection, and global connectivities are there. So they are not confined to that also. I'll discuss in some case studies in that particularly. And when you talk of all these entrepreneurs particularly, the entrepreneur and a manager, corporate manager, the difference is that corporate manager is specialized in a particular corporate aspect, but an entrepreneur is a small entrepreneur, has become a professional specialist, cannot be a professional specialist, but he is jack of all trade. He has to perform a lot of duties for the running of his own business. He is a business planner, he is a leader, he is a marketing salesperson, he is doing inventory control, he is doing accounting, he is also doing customer relation, he is managing his employees also, he is taking all the investment decisions also. So that way, small entrepreneurs or entrepreneur has knowledge of each and every small aspects of that. But a corporate manager is a specialist in a particular corporate aspect. So when you talk about the functional spheres of an entrepreneurship, it has three functional spheres are there. These are, one is financial spheres. You have to take the decision how to procure the fund, how to utilize the fund. Managerial spheres, you have to do all the managerial aspect like planning, directing, controlling, all this kind of thing. And booster spheres is as a leader particularly. It is a psycho-sociological, humanistical approach to create a role for within the organization to motivate his people, and that way particularly. So that way, these are the major areas of the function of an entrepreneur. When you discuss about the process of entrepreneurship, as I discussed, entrepreneurship means you have to take a risk. Entrepreneurship means you have to see the opportunities. So, but entrepreneurship is successful when the environment is conducive. And you as an entrepreneur, you should have the skill, you should have the aspiration, you should have the personality, and moreover, you should have the experience to go for it. So you see the opportunity, you see the environment, political environment, whether the government policies are particularly some state, the environment is, the entrepreneurship is more successful than in some other states. It depends. You can have a lot of example where various companies or people are going much for entrepreneurship. In some state, there is some restrictions are there. The policies are not so favorable. So you have to evaluate that. So you have to do the pest analysis. That is the analysis of political situation, economic situation, social and technological situation. And as an entrepreneur, you should have skill, that personality and aspiration and experience, and you go for the opportunity. Then you evaluate the opportunity based on the market research, you gather a lot of resources, then you take the decision whether you go for the entrepreneurship or you will drop the idea of that particular entrepreneurship. So that pest analysis is analysis of political and regulatory aspects, economic aspect. Economic aspect, you have to see the disposable income, the demand, and all these things aspects are there. Social aspect, whether that kind of business or entrepreneurship is acceptable to the society, whether the trends are there, what is the culture, what is the fashion, how the demography are changing. Because when you talk of tourism entrepreneurship particularly, now new trends are coming in to go to the offbeat destination. So you find a small entrepreneur in offbeat destinations like that, and they are very successful. In my case studies, I'll discuss a few of those aspects in that way. Then you find in that area, in tourism and hospitality, where there is the gap of opportunities are there. What is the currently things available there, and what more can be possible? Then you can develop, you can modify your product, and you can develop your own entrepreneurship particularly, right? When you talk about the service and hospitality sector, and most of the service and hospitality sector are coming under MSME sector, particularly micro, small and medium entrepreneurship particularly. And if you define or you go through the concept of MSME particularly, the Government of India in the Act of MSME Development Act 2006, he defined what are the micro, small and medium entrepreneurship. But that definition has changed twice recently, and that shows the focus of our government for the development of these kind of entrepreneurship. Because in 13th May 2020, the definition change or criteria of MSME is changed. And again, in the 1st July 2020, the criteria further changed. And this is the recent revised classification of micro, small, and medium enterprises. It might be manufacturing enterprises or it may be of service rendering enterprises. The concept, what was earlier and what was changed now, is that earlier only depend on the investment. But now the turnover concept is added. It is part of Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan of the economic package of the Government of India. For that, they changed the definition or the classification of MSME, right? So now it is not only the investment up to 1 crore, but also the turnover, if less than 5 crore, then it is a micro sector or small sector where equipment or investment is 10 crore, but the turnover should be less than 50 crore. For medium sector, equipment cost less than 50, investment less than 50 crore, and it is 250 crore. Because due to this, lot of hotel management and guest house hospitality products are coming under MSS sector. Earlier it was not there, and so that they can avail the benefit of these schemes of MSME. Because if you see, this MSME sector is creating almost 11 crores of jobs, and it contributes to 29% of GDP of India, right? And it is the heart of Indian economy. So keeping in view of the importance of these kind of things, particularly, almost in India, it has 6.3 crores, 33 crores of MSME sectors are there, economies are there. Out of that, 95% are under micro sectors. And if you talk about our industry, hospitality industry particularly, and now in the recommendation of 40th meeting of Small Scale Industry Board, these hospitality sector, hotel, tourism, other sector are including under MSME, which was not earlier was there. So what benefit they are getting? This sector, what benefit they are getting? These status of guest house and hotels, once they are coming under MSS sector, so they get the interest subsidy, their interest-free loans, 50% waiving of electricity charges, a lot of other benefits they can avail. So these are the advantages of MSME sector. But the thing is that in hospitality sector, maximum hospitality are not sector are not classified under MSME sector. They are unorganized. They are not registered. Out of almost 1.5 million, these are unregistered. Only registered sectors are in thousands only. So that is the problems, and so that they cannot avail. And now coming to the startup. Startup is a part of entrepreneurship, and there is a few difference between MSME and the startup. At this, there is a department for promotion of industrial and internal trade. They notify a particular startup, and that is under Ministry of Commerce and Industry. So what are the eligibility criteria for a startup recognition particularly? So startup should be either a private limited company or it may be a partnership firm. But the turnover of a startup, it should be less than 100 crore. But any entity can be considered as a startup up to 10 years from the date of its incorporation. And these startups should working towards innovation, improvement of existing products, services. This should be the criteria to be called up as a startup. And it should have potential to generate employment, create wealth, and any entity formed by splitting of the reconstruction of the existing business, it cannot be considered as a startup. Startup means you are starting up a new business. Based on these fundamental guidelines. Different state, they have developed their own startup criteria to be recognition. The fundamentals remain same, but they incorporate some kind of uh, other conditions. Like in Uttarakhand, they say that 50% of the job creation in that startup should be from the local area, like that. So that way they can add some clause, but the basic structure or criteria of recognition of startup remains the same as given by the Ministry of Commerce and Industry under Department Promotion of Industry and Internal Trades, that way particularly. So when you talk of the startup environment in India, so India has excellent potential for startup. Why I'm talking about this particularly? The Ministry Promotion of Industry and Internal Trade, they are identify around 27,916 startup. This figure is as of 1st February 2020. So, and there is some unofficial records are there. These are recognized startup, but there are some lot of unrecognized startups are there. There are only 7,000 startups are there in 2008, which grew to 50,000 in 2020. There are some sources who identified that there are around 50,000 startups are there particularly. And these startups in India, you have very positive environments are there particularly. And most of the startups are B2B startup particularly. And India is coming up in a huge way as big startup hub. Lot of foreign investment agencies are ready to invest in Indian startups. So that there's a lot of potential for Indian startup. If you see the global list of unicorn, I hope unicorn means it's a term where the value of a business is more than 1 billion US dollar. So in 2020, as per Hurun Research Institute, they published some fact and figures. So USA and China, they are neck to neck. So you have 223 unicorn and 227. But India is not lagging behind, although in number it is much more smaller, but in world ranking, it is 4th. Although USA and China contribute about the 78% of the unicorn list of unicorn in out of 586 unicorn based on 29 countries. These are the list of unicorn you can see in the screen. And but you see the new unicorn, they are now coming up in India, and the average age of a unicorn, how much time they take to reach to that status of unicorn. So India is not far behind. In 7 years, average age of unicorns in India is 7 years particularly. If you see the list of unicorn, so these are the top 10 unicorns in there. And majority of the unicorn, Paytm is very old, but in tourism sector or e-commerce sector, you have Oyo Room, Ola Cab, Swiggy, Zomato, these are there. And they are growing very fast in comparison to other sectors particularly. I'll come to the pandemic scenario, but the up to 20th, before the pandemic, these are the growth of these unicorns particularly. And out of these unicorns, maximum unicorns are in e-commerce sector, and Oyo and all these are e-commerce sector. And fintech is like Paytms and others are there. So that way, these are the list of unicorns of India, like Dream, that is of gaming sector, Dream 11, all these kind of things. But thing is that who are the lead investor in the Indian unicorns? They are all foreign investors are there, like SoftBank and Alibaba Group. So Japan, USA, and China, these are the major countries who invested in India. And if you see the Indian startup hub, Bengaluru, Gurgaon, Noida, New Delhi, these are the NCR region of Delhi and Mumbai region and Bangalore region. These are the main hub of startup in India. Right. Now coming to the prominent startup in tourism and hospitality industry. So let us see about these startup of, I'll just run through it because everybody know about the OYO rooms and that kind of things. I'm not giving any detail, but I want to share some key issues in OYO rooms particularly. Up to 2018, it was less than 1 billion. It was not a part of Unicon, but within 3 years, it grew around to 15 billions in that way. Maximum growth took place in OYO rooms particularly. So now it has presence in almost many countries. It has presence in 800 cities globally and 80 countries particularly. But maximum growth of OYO came from the China particularly. Because in China in 2018 particularly, in June, they have only 11,000 rooms are there. And next month they have 25,000 rooms. But after 6 months, they have 1,80,000 rooms are there. So within 5 to 6 months, it grow up to 5 times, almost 5 times. And the number of rooms in India is 1,50,000, but in China 1,80,000. But the irony is that you cannot book OYO room on its own website in China. So China, you have their Chinese aggregator like WeChat, Alibaba, all these kind of things. So that is the maximum region for growth of OYO rooms. Second one is Ola Cab, which is also around 10 million unicorns are there. It is also growing very fast. It's, you know, Ola Cabs are there. Swiggy and Zomato, they are the food suppliers and these unicorns, right? And they are the food startup, food providing food process in that way. Fresh Menu is an upcoming startup, and they delivered you the food cooked and delivered again. Shuttle is the particularly transportation service for commuters. Tribo Hotels is also a very upcoming startups, and you have almost 400 hotels all over 70 cities of India in Tribo. But the one good aspect of Tribo Hotels is that they created a marketplace where traveler can interact with the local travel agent also. That is the good thing for Tribo Hotels in that way. Rave is another, it is an Indian startup for multiple options to meet the self-drive needs for the round trips. It's kind of transport, and travel triangles is there. These are the startup. Make My Trip, we cannot call is a startup because it's a long back, established long back, and it is now a big giant company, is also listed in NASDAQ. And Redbus is the public transport ticketing, online bus ticketing, and Wow Momo is for the Tibetan food and other aspects, Chinese foods. So these are the specialists, some of the startups in the prominent startup in tourism and hospitality industry. But what is the fundamental difference between our Indian startup culture and the US startup culture? The fundamental difference between these two, both are structure-wise or principle-wise are same, right? But the thing is that when an Indian startups are there, the venture capitalist or the investor, they put down a reasonable sum of money before they given any funding to startup. But when the later stage come, the Indian startup are not able to find or sustain the finance. So if you have sufficient backing, then Indian startup can be successful. In the later stage, funding become the more problematic issues, and they have no choice. They have to go to the international investors are there. But international venture investor only venture if you have the strong reputations are there. I'll quote some example of some of the Indian startup who failed, and they are doing well and suddenly they fail, and nobody know the reason for that, and that create some kind of doubt in the mind of the foreign ventures to venture in the Indian startup. So that is the difference between the USA and the Indian startup. When you talk of the what are the common cause of failure of the startup or a business, these are the very common reasons, because sometimes very unstable financial market, you have fluctuating interest rates are there, the government regulation if keep on changing, there is no stability is there, some economic business cycles are there, and there are a lot of personal factors are also there. These personal factors, the entrepreneur is lacking experience, they lack technical skill and management acumen, they don't have this kind of technical skill, but they venture in that kind of things with the team of some other people. Then sometimes they are not ready to listen their teams, and that way sometimes mismanagement in terms of inappropriate investment in different fixed asset or some inventory or some poor financial control and poor business philosophy. People want that if you hire, people has a philosophy that if you hire very good employees, then they can manage their business in the owner's absence. That is not an ideal business philosophy to be a successful entrepreneurs. You should not this kind of statistics of business employment dynamics report, and this report also talk about the Indian startup also. It is found that 20% of the startup first fail in first year only, 30% fail up to second year, 50% fail up to fifth year, 70% fail up to 10th year. So in India, the startup definition define that up to 10-year organization or a startup can be considered as a startup. But by 10th year, you find the 70% of the failure of the startup. So if you see that 2/3 of the startup, 70% or almost 2/3 of the startup are usually fail to reach their ultimate goal in that way. And out of 1/3 who so we are discussing about what are the major reasons for failure of startup. The major 56% of the cause is the marketing problems particularly. That means either you don't have the right, assess the right demand of the product of the market. It is the gap between the knowledge of the market, and that is the main reason that we are offering the wrong product, or you are not giving the right kind of product to the customer. That way, that is the major reason of failure of the product, and that way. And second is the team problem particularly. That means the group of people who start this entrepreneurship venture, they are not compatible. Either there is friction within the team, or people lack motivation in this venture particularly, and some common goals are missing in the team particularly. So that is the main things are there. But the major cause is the marketing problem. The product is not market fit, so that you cannot offer the right kind of product to the problem. Third one is the financial problem. As I already discussed, between the difference between USA and Indian ventures are there. So initially you can invest something, but you have to sustain. In the long run, particularly more finance is required when you grow. Initial, there is no problem. You can sustain, you can start a venture, and you can run it successfully for a few days also. But if you grow, you need more finance. At that time, there are a lot of issues comes. So you depend on foreign investment. That way, the problems comes. Technical problems are there. Technical problems is not the main problem. Is that if you invest more in technical side before having a test marketing and other kind of things, so then these kind of problems are there. For the sake of technology, you invest huge amount of money in technical aspects, but not doing the first homework in that way, and it cannot. You first have to validate your market, then you invest in technical aspect. Then some procedural problems are there and legal problems are there. These are minor reason for failure, but the major reason is the human aspects, marketing aspect, and the finance aspect. And one important aspect of failure of the things are there, the lack of technical innovation and lack of uniqueness. Because most of the startup, what it is observed, they are the prototype of Western things are there. You have to infuse some Indianness or in that aspects are there. And uniqueness, it lacks your own innovation particularly. Because in India, if you go for the patent and other aspect, you see India is far behind than the, no doubt we are upcoming in that area. We are gradually doing well, but still the statistics shows that in comparison to Japan, Korea, China, and other aspect, their patent is 20 times more than India in that way particularly. And one very common reason for failure is the premature scaling particularly. If you rise very early, before the time, it also lead to cause of failure particularly. 70% of the startup, they usually have scaling prematurely. And out of that, 80 to 90% startup, they are failed particularly. Because you cannot sustain that kind of things and your business model is not repeated, and that way you cannot infuse some uniqueness in that kind of things. And if you are spending more time working in business than on the business, that is not a successful ventures are there particularly. So there are the few example of the startup who failed in 2018 particularly. So you find in that some kind of their fund is some issues where the those startups are failed due to fund in that way. These are not related to tourism or hospitality sector, but they failed particularly. Like Babyberry is related to app of child health and wellness. They suddenly go out of market. They are doing well and they are suddenly vanished. And if this kind of scenario or case studies are there, the foreign investor, they lack confidence in the Indian ventures in that way. Because when this startup came into existence, it was doing very well. And suddenly it missed out of the action and nobody knows why it stopped the function particularly. Holasep is one of the food aggregator startup, which was also shut down due to the food crunch particularly. And at that time, this concept, they cannot compete. Later on, Zomato, Swiggy, they are successful, but this startup failed in that kind of things particularly. So after giving these outlines, let me discuss some of the startup. These are not big giants. These are very small entrepreneurs. And I want to share a few success stories of this startup company. First one is ITS Global. Why I am interested to share? Because we all are teachers in tourism and travel hospitality sectors particularly. And majority of our students, they join in small entrepreneurs because our small travel agency and tour operation business. And then sooner or later, they find it rather doing job, they can start their own entrepreneur. In India, there is huge opportunities for small entrepreneurship in travel and tourism sector. Be it small travel agency, tour operation, local handling agency, restaurants, camping site, tented accommodation, homestay, adventure operations, operators, raftings, souvenir shops. A lot of areas are there. So I find 4 or 5 very small case studies. And the first one is the case studies of my own student, how he grows and start his own travel agency from very small, and within a few years, how he succeeded in that. So this ITS Global Install Travel, it is a case study of my students, and he in 2005 to 7, he did his MTA in our university, in our department, in my department. And when he was in graduation, he has fascinated that one kind of passion for tourism. He always told me, says, I want to do something in tourism and travel sector, especially I want to start my own entrepreneur. So he joined this course and he got the opportunity to do training in Orbis Travel, and it's dealing mainly with MICE sector. And there he made up his mind to go to a MICE sector only. So the thing is that a person, if he is very much clear in his idea and goal and focus, then he moved to MICE sector and he joined 2007 to 9 in Cox and Kings in MICE sector only. So, and his location was in Jaipur, and he was given the charge of a manager. He established a office there. In Jaipur, it was not there. And he established MICE market there itself. And there what he did, he started and doing business in MICE sector. After that, he was tempted earlier to start his venture. So that mistake he committed, and he realized that mistake. In 2009, he started as an entrepreneur with a promoter that is called Spice Mobile Company. He invested in his firm and start a Delta Prime Holiday. Immediately he cannot get success. So there is a lot of pressure from the supporter, financer to get the return, which was not possible. There is a lot of pressure. So he has not his own much more capital. So he realized his mistake, and that was the failure. And he abandoned and resigned or stopped that venture after only 7 to 8 months particularly. Then he committed another mistake because he was out of job. So he joined Thomas Cook in other sector, not of his choice, and at a later position where there is no challenging job is there. So he was not satisfied. So that phase 2009 to 11 was his failure. Then again he joined Cox and Kings. He negotiated and become the territorial manager of MICE sector in North India in 2012. So in 2012 to 2017, he explored all the market of MICE sector, and he got a lot of exposure, organization of big conferences, and he also organized conference in association with TUI and La Passage Limited, all are big giants of travel trade. And he also got the exposure to organize conference up to 5,000 people at a time. So then he gained the confidence. Yes, now I can start my own venture. He was much more better prepared to plan its own company in October 2017. So he has a sufficient client base now to sustain his company, and moreover, he has some finance of his own to sustain for a few years particularly. So that was the difference, because knowledge was not sufficient in the earlier stage. To be a successful entrepreneur, you should have sufficient experience and you should much more prepare. So then he start in 2007 this ITS Global Instant Travel Solution, specialized in MICE, and it also deal with other sector also. And he started with 6 staff only, with 1 office at Jaipur in 2017. It was end of October he started the company, 2017. And till February 2000, March 2020, before this pandemic, he has 4 offices at Jaipur, Delhi, Mumbai, Hyderabad with 55 staff. The turnover within 2 years raised from 3 crore to 50 crore. So, and he is much more confidence even in this pandemic. I had a discussion with him, told that, sir, time will come after 1 year, this industry will rebound strongly, and no doubt it is a tough time, but will definitely strongly come back. So that is one successfully of entrepreneurship. Another is entrepreneurship is, it is a offbeat destination in Uttarakhand, in Chakrata area. That is a Blue Canvas Resort. It is a tented colony resort, but it is a community-based tourism experience. I am sharing the community-based tourism success stories particularly. The owner of this is a alumni of IIM Ahmedabad, and he has 2 options. One is lucrative career, another is community development and regional development of the local people in that way. So he choose, out of this trade-off, he choose this Blue Canvas Resort, that particularly. So start this area. It is from Dehradun to Chakrota. If you go, it is a scenic location. Chakrota is prior to Chakrota. On the road, he developed this tented accommodation resort that way. He has 15 lettable tents on his premises with facilities of game room, restaurant, coffee shop, souvenir shop for the tourist. The uniqueness of these things is there. So he is all these surroundings area is involved. All these employees are local. He is giving employment to local transporters, the agricultural products and all dairy and those poultry are coming from the locals. And in the evening, you have local cultural program for guest entertainment. Their local people are involved in that. You have handicraft, inside that is the handicraft shops are there, and that also are made by the local people. Then local products are there in terms of pickles and all this. Everything is local, salts, woolens, and that way particularly. And strong participation of local community are there in this ventures particularly. And he has a complete professional itineraries are there with nearby beautiful destination, offbeat destinations are there. Tiger Fall, Koti Kanasar, the Tops, Deoban, then Buder Cave. They have always a lot of corporate clients and people from Delhi. They are coming because the climate is very good in summers and also in winters. Also, there are a lot of people are coming to this kind of place are there. So this is the Blue Canvas Resort. That is another entrepreneurship stories are there. I am sharing with you. So this is the for adventures rooms are there, and you have restaurants are there. You have billiard tables, and they have met provision of these kind of things are there. So that way it is benefiting the community for the because one of the main purpose of tourism is also for the upliftment or poverty alleviation. That is one of the goal of the sustainable development tourism. And through entrepreneurship, successful entrepreneurship, you can fulfill this purpose also. There is another story is there. This gentleman is now very famous, Mr. Jeevan Lal Verma. If you go to the website of Rose, you can see. So it starts with a paying guest team. So it is a success story of voluntary tourism and entrepreneurship. So how the foreigners volunteer themselves, they come for the upliftment of the this village particularly. They involve in development of education and that kind of things. And this family, they are registered under paying guest scheme long back 1999. And now a lot of researchers, they quote the case studies of this Rose, and you can see in the website and you can find it. These foreigners, they are doing mentioning job, they are teaching in the school, they are teaching English and learning Hindi, they are learning the agricultural works, they work in the field. So these are the perfect example of voluntary tourism, side by side, entrepreneurs by a rural person. He is not so much of educated also, was not from the tourism background also, but now he is the renowned figure in the world also. You can find that. So he worked at the grassroots level in the Kumaon region of the Uttarakhand region. The major activities involve the Rose Public School, organic farming, construction, film shooting, photography, filmmaking, nature work. So these are biodiversity watching, ecotourism, educational tourism, homestay, volunteer. That is the aspects of this kind of thing. Similarly, there is a Magpie Jungle Camp resort. Tents are there in Chopta, and this is a very beautiful hill station, or you can't say hill station. It's a very beautiful place in Uttarakhand. Chopta, when you go from Kedarnath to Badrinath via Ukhimat, this place is there. Those people or those participants are from this part of the world, or they must have heard about this. So this is that another kind of, so there is many cases are there with small entrepreneurship and successful entrepreneurship in this area, be it Mizoram or Northeast or all the hill areas. So homestay is one of the successful entrepreneurship are there. You have restaurants are there. You have adventure activities are there. You have tenting colonies are there. So you find a lot of successful entrepreneurship and entrepreneurship stories in this part of India. So that way, entrepreneurship is through entrepreneurship, you can have an endless opportunity, money making opportunities are there in this world. And no doubt startups are very risky, but you can, because as our Honorable Prime Minister says that every startups one day are very small. From small, they become big. So you can start entrepreneurship and tourism entrepreneurship in a, you can start as a very small level, and it is not so risky in other entrepreneurship kind of things. And it can give a lot of self-employment to the people of the region in rural area. Tourism is such an industry that no doubt it is very susceptible like this current situation. But if you see the record of tourism, it is the only industry from 2010 to 2020, it sustained growth of more than 4%, where no other industry or no other segment of economy grow in the world. There is no negative growth of tourism. But this is unprecedented situation, and this storm will be over. And you will definitely overcome this, and it will rebound very strongly after that. So tourism has a great potential for entrepreneurship. And let us take the risk, encourage our students. Failure should not discourage anyone that way particularly. And moreover, India has a huge opportunity because India is a very beautiful country. It is a huge potential for domestic tourism. It is a land of all season and all region. It is, and be it Karnataka, lot of homestay, it is become an industry now. You can find Jaisalmer. 20 years back, what was Jaisalmer? Now you can find a lot of entrepreneurs in Jaisalmer. So each and every, and now people are want to go to upbeat destination. So they have, all the destination has potential, but we have to convert through participation of government and private sector, we can develop. I can share another example about the Haldighati. Those people who are from Rajasthan, they know Haldighati is related to Rana Pratap also. What happened there? Earlier when the tour was there, it was a part of the tour in the package tour of Rajasthan tourism and everything. But what guide used to show them, in the road they can say all entire are the Haldighati valley. In that place Chetak come, there the soldier of Rana Pratap was there, and that way there. So 15-minute stops are there. But one young entrepreneur long back, that is called innovation and creativity. There he has a huge land, so he developed a complex, tourist complex. And there he has some sound and light show about the Chittor and story of Rana Mewar and Rana Pratap and Haldighati, and that way. Side by side, good restaurant, souvenir shops, some entertainment areas for the children. And now Haldighati, that is the destination of Haldighati. So that is called entrepreneurship or innovation in that way particular. So India is a beautiful country. It has great attractions. There are a lot of places to see, lot of opportunities for entrepreneurship. So we should not make any excuse. We should utilize this. We should encourage our students to go for the entrepreneurship in tourism, and we can develop their mindset to be a successful entrepreneur. So that's the time has come to bring change, and we will definitely should bring change in the mindset of the youth. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Hello.
Yes, yes.
Thank you thank you very much, sir, for this wonderful session. Sir, you have described a lot of things about the entrepreneurship and startups. Sir, we have received a lot of appreciations as well as a number of questions have been asked from the participants. As the time permits, as time doesn't permit to ask all the questions, we don't have that much of time to ask all the questions to discuss. Would like to select some questions, and sir, we request you to have some to discuss on these questions. So one question, participant Bhaswati Bhattacharya is asking, is entrepreneurship different from startups?
Let me explain. Entrepreneurship is a generic term. Am you able to audible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Entrepreneurship is a generic term. Entrepreneur, it may be small, it may be big, anything. Even Reliance is also entrepreneur. A small shopkeeper is also entrepreneur. But if you legally define the terms, I explained the legal definition of MSME, micro, small, medium enterprises, and out of that, who are considered under startup. So startup has its own definition. It should be 10-year-old. It should be a new venture. It should less than 100 crores or whatever maybe. So that is the difference. I hope you get the answer. If any more question, clarification you need, I can explain. Your voice is not audible, Pankaj.
Thank you, sir. Sir, hope the yes participants have must got their answer. Sir, another question is, what if the startup fails? How the investor can secure his investment?
So for that, basically that is the risk. Entrepreneurship and startup is a risk, and I explain what is the status. In the first year also 20% failed. So we have to go to the region of failure. We have to prepare. Even the case of ITS Global, I explained, first time he failed. So definitely he incurred loss there because he was not prepared. So that way you have to be a successful entrepreneur. For that I have given the background. Yeah, you must have the education, you must have the experience, you must have some financial backup to sustain the risk, and you must have the determination.
Yes, sir. Sir, thank you, sir. Sir, one more question is there from Mr. Sri Ranjan Menon. He is asking that India is known for frugal innovations. How can these grassroots level innovators come to the mainstream national level stage? Is there any support system for the frugal innovators or the beginners in India?
It's a very good question also. For that, I choose the case studies not of a successful like Zomato, Oyo, that way. What case studies I have chosen for? One also I also try to mention. It is BSR Farm in Podi. It is all are offbeat and rural areas. There is no other economic activities, but they are running successfully. And earlier it was difficult. Now there is no problem. Even Chopta is a offbeat destination. You can find in Trip Advisor, in Make My Trip. They are booking through them. So in the age of internet, social media, you can develop your web page, you can do digital marketing with small investment also, you can be globally popular. This Mr. Jivalnal Barmaji is a goldsmith and is a not very much educated. I think he has done Polytechnic, or you can see in this website. And now you can find his status. He was invited to big international conference on volunteer tourism in that way. So that way there is no dearth of get publicity or promotions in that way. With less expenses, you can now promote yourself. You are not audible, Pankaj.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Sir, one more question is, in post-COVID-19, do you think that there will be diminish in the entrepreneurial spirit among the budding entrepreneurs, as most of the entrepreneurs have lost their job, businesses, lost their profits because of this pandemic?
That is true. This is the worst affected industry in comparison to other industry particularly. But at least domestic tourism has been started, and these small entrepreneurs has to depend on domestic tourism, and side by side they have some other source of financial planning should be there. But no doubt this industry will come back. People are fed up by remaining at home last 6 months, so they are now longing for to go out, but the situation is not permitting. Once it will permit, it will explode like anything. It will not move, it will run like anything. No doubt this is very tough time. There is no answer for this, for the current scenario. You have to think and some other financial solution. Otherwise, from the tourism point of view, small entrepreneur can sustain. They have from domestic tourism. Even in each and every area, small restaurants, small resorts, they are being in operation. Local people are now going there. But in big picture, no doubt, the scenario is tough now.
Sir, we have a lot of questions, but now, sir, would like to ask them one last question. Sir, the question is that what participant is asking that as the North Indian states, North Himalayan states, the Himalayan states located in northern part of the country are receiving lots of or huge number of tourists, while in the northeastern states like Mizoram or other states in situated in northeast India are not receiving that much of tourists. Even we are also having in this part, we are also having the nature-based destinations and very much potential for tourism development. So what kind of initiatives should be taken by the government, or what kind of entrepreneurial awareness should be publicized among the communities of this region?
Particularly, you have to target the market particularly. Like in North India, like Himachal, Jammu, Kashmir, or Uttarakhand, you have the potential market of Delhi, NCR, Chandigarh, Punjab, Haryana, all these kind of things. Moreover, besides the leisure and adventure, the major chunk of the in Uttarakhand are the pilgrimage. It was a traditional tourism base are there. That is the strong base, core is there. Now supplementary base has been developed. In Northeast, government has to promote a particular few destination, then they have to develop some satellite destination, and private player and private industry in collaboration with the government sector, they have to identify certain destinations and the type of destinations. Be it wildlife, you have to identify for adventure, for camping, for leisure, like that. Like those canvas resort, it was not a popular destination, but a lot of people are there, going there now, Chakrota, because this is the upcoming destination. Because people are fed up with the much more popular destination like Mussoorie, Nainital. People are going, but they are overcrowded. They are crossing the carrying capacity limit. So automatically we are the beneficiary, the satellite destination, the nearby people. So if you have any idea about the Mussoorie, so 30 kilometers from Mussoorie is Chamba, Dhanolti is much more well developed in that sense particularly. And their entrepreneurship is coming up in that way. So that way in Mizoram or other Northeast, they first have to identify which are their target market, and promotion, government will do promotion that way. And at national level also, because one of the disadvantage is there the connectivity. Tourism, for tourism, accessibility is the key issue. And government has to take care of that accessibility. No private sector can do that. But private sector can develop small infrastructure or small entrepreneurship facility there. And safety, security, that perception of tourists should be there. It is a safe destination. So that government has to create that confidence also. I think that way Northeast can come out. It's a very beautiful, I know, I visited some part of Northeast. It's a very beautiful and wonderful part of India.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much for accepting our invitation and delivery of such a wonderful lecture. Sir, before the session, my HOD and coordinator of this program, Dr. Himanshu Bhushan Rao, sir, wants to thank you. So now, Dr. Himanshu Bhushan Rao, sir. Sir, please.
Sir, good evening. Thank you, sir, for accepting our invitation and delivering such an insightful, motivating, and informative session to us. And we are very much thank you. We will be obliged for your session, and I hope in future also we will grow with your guidance. Now I want to thank Professor S.K. Gupta, Professor Center for Mountain Tourism and Hospitality Studies, HNB Garhwal University. Sir, actually this FDP has earned name and fame throughout the country due to the resource persons, the insightful lectures, and this session also contributed a lot to the participants, to the program, and as well as to my Department of Tourism and Hospitality Management, Mizoram University. We will be thankful to you. We will be obliged for you, to you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Namaste, sir.